New Progress Texas poll shows that voters could make the presidential race extremely close here in the Lone Star State. Very close. When voters were asked who they will vote for in the race for the White House, 48% went with President Trump, 46% said they'd vote for the former VP Joe Biden, and 6% said they still weren't sure. And in the race for U.S. Senate, voters were asked if they plan to vote for the Republican or Democratic candidate. 47% said they would vote for the Republican, which is incumbent John Cornyn. 45% said they plan to vote for a Democratic candidate. Last night on Fox 7 Austin at 5, Mike Warren spoke about those results with Travis County GOP Chairman Matt Mackowiak and Tara Pohlmeyer, the communications director from Progress Texas.
Starting with you, Tara, what stands out the most from your polling?
Really, with this polling, what we saw is that Texas voters are fed up with when it comes to Republicans' lack of action on some of the crises that we're facing right now. When it comes to our healthcare crisis with the COVID-19 pandemic, when it comes to the mass unemployment we are seeing across the state, and when it comes to systemic racism that impacts our communities and has for decades, we are just not seeing any substantive action from the Republican Party. And what we are seeing here is that it is too close to call in Texas, and that Texas Democrats are fired up and ready to vote in the coming elections.
All right, Matt Mackowiak, you said last week you don't put much stock in polling this far out. Do you still believe the president is going to win Texas comfortably?
I do, and I'm not sure where Tara sees in the poll anything about coronavirus or systemic racism. I looked at the entire poll, and it tests Trump, it tests the Senate race, it tests some other things, but it doesn't test those issues. So, look, I think there are a couple potential problems with the poll. I saw that half the respondents responded via text message. That, of course, requires that someone have a cell phone, which I'm sure skews younger. And the electorate's not going to be very young in 2020. It never is in presidential elections. So I think that's one issue. I saw that the partisan breakdown was, I think, 41% Republican, 37% Democratic. The state is more Republican than that in terms of the split. And so I think in the fall you'll see, Republicans, they're being undersampled now in the polling. They'll be sampled in a more representative way in the fall. So, look, this race is closer in Texas than it should be. It's closer than it has been in the past. Trump won Texas by 9% in 2016. As of now, I would expect he won by 6 to 8%. But it's going to depend a lot on where we are in the fall. Where are we on coronavirus? How's the economy, coming back? Where are we on all these issues? And also, what is Biden doing? He's been hiding in his basement for the last 3 months. And so we're going to be in the fall in a situation where both candidates are out campaigning, presumably.
Okay. Tara, talking about polling in general, not just your poll, but the last presidential election, the polling was so incredibly wrong. Why should people put faith in the polling now? Has the polling changed? Is it better than it was 4 years ago?
Polling has absolutely changed, but I will say that a poll is only a temperature check of that specific moment in time. So I am not saying by any means, and we are not saying by any means, that this poll is what's going to happen in November. But I think it is conducive of where Texans are right now and how they feel right now. Really, when it comes to polling, though, the reason why we include text messaging is because traditional polling was only polling people who had a landline. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't have a landline, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers at home have gotten rid of theirs as well. And so I think polling right now shows where voters are right now, and Texas voters are absolutely rallying for change, ready to fight for this election, and ready to get out and vote.
Okay. Matt Mackowiak, kind of same question. Polling got it so wrong 4 years ago. Why should anybody have any faith in it now?
I just have to correct one thing that Tara said. Most polling in the last 5 years has had about a 1/3 cell phone mix. So if your poll is an automatic, kind of a machine-generated poll, maybe that's what PPP is doing for Progress Texas, where they're doing auto dialers to landlines and then texting to cell phones. That's a cheap way to poll. It's an efficient way to poll from a cost perspective. But most professional pollsters are mixing in about 1/3 of their overall respondents are live calls to cell phones. So only in these kind of robopolls, would you be missing people who have cell phones? But to your point, yes, look, I think the polling is probably still a little bit off. I think it's undercounting Trump voters who may not want to tell a pollster that they support President Trump for one reason or another. Again, we're in sort of a registered voter or all adults environment right now. In the fall after Labor Day, we're going to be in a likely voter situation where you're going to capture the intensity advantage that Trump has over Biden.
All righty. Well, there's lots more polling to come. Tara, Matt, thank you both very much.